Hi everyone, and welcome to my week 4 presentation. So this week I was given chapters 8 and 10, so I'm going to go ahead and share some of my connections with you. So the first connection I had in chapter 8 involved these two quotes that says, "We all live in two worlds, the real world and the media world. Attaining higher levels of media literacy does not mean avoiding the media world. Instead, it means being able to tell the two worlds apart as they merge together under pressures from newer message formats and newer technologies that seem to make the boundary lines between the two worlds very fuzzy." Then the second quote says, "We are continually entering the media world to get experiences and information we cannot get very well in our real lives." And so I put two quotes in here because I really liked this first quote when I was reading. I felt it gave a really good definition of the real world and the media world, and I felt like it was really easy to understand. So I wanted to put that in there. The second quote I connected with in regards to how much I like reality TV. And I like it because I like watching the drama. And that's something I don't get in my real life, and I take pride in that because I really don't like personal drama, and I stay away from it, so therefore I don't get it, which is okay by me. So I like to watch it on TV because it's really entertaining, something I don't get in my life, and yeah, it's really entertaining to me. So the next connection I had in chapter 8 involves this quote. It's also in the context of reality TV from page 154. And so when I read, it was this quote that says, "How do people make judgments about which elements of evidence are real and which are made up?" And then reading on to page 155 of this section, I also read, "The editors and producers of reality media messages never tell the audience the full story. They edit out what they think is boring, then assemble the pieces they think will be the most dramatic into interesting storylines." So I thought this was pretty interesting because while watching reality TV, I wonder the same thing, like, okay, how much of this is really just them talking and figuring out issues and whatnot, and how much of it is scripted. And then I also really enjoyed the second quote that I read because if you really think back to what you're watching, like, for example, the show The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, it is all full of drama. And, when you really think about it, that's totally the editors just editing out all the boring parts and putting in nothing but drama. And so it was quite interesting to read from the book that all the drama that you see is only about 2% of what actually happened through putting together the show. However, sometimes I do sit in front of the TV and try and figure out, okay, is this real? Is it not real? And a good example I had of that was the show Alaska State Troopers. And I believed that one to be real because I was able to actually point out, intersections or buildings of the Fairbanks area that were on the show. I was able to recognize places and go, okay, that is real. I know that. I've been there. So in some shows it's easier to do that, in some it's not. So my question for you guys is, what are some things that you guys look for to see if a reality show is real or if it isn't? So what are some of the evidence that you guys are looking for when you watch these types of shows? So moving on to chapter 10, in the section of the book that talks about changing public taste, the book states, "Storytelling formulas must evolve as public tastes change over time. people get bored with too much repetition and look for something slightly different. Then it goes on to say, the media have become much more sensitive to these changes in taste because they know if they can push the line and not offend audiences, they will be the first to present a new twist in the old familiar formula, and this will attract large audiences. And this is from page 208. So the thing that this made me think of was how the public is becoming more comfortable with certain things. For example, transgender people, teen pregnancy. And I say this because I've noticed over the years that more types of these reality shows are becoming more popular. Like the show Teen Mom or 16 and Pregnant, those are really popular. ABC Family is just coming out with a show about two families whose fathers are transgender. And so I think as the population gets more accepting of these different types of lifestyles, the more I think these types of reality shows become more popular. And so, as people start to feel more comfortable with these types of situations, you start to see changes in television. So I think it's pretty interesting to see how viewpoints and beliefs and tastes in TV changes the TV industry over the years. It's pretty interesting to think about. So moving on to my last connection from chapter 10, it says, there is a positive as well as a negative side to stereotypes. Stereotypes are positive from the point of view that they are easy for viewers to recognize, but stereotypes can also have a negative effect because they are often inadequate as well as biased, often serve as obstacles to rational assessment, and are resistant to social change. And this is from page 212. So upon reading this, I thought it was really interesting to read that there is a positive side and a negative side to stereotypes. We generally only really think about the negative stereotypes, at least I have. I've never really thought of stereotypes as a positive. And the book uses the positive as it helps you peg certain characters in shows more easily. So you can, with stereotypes, you can easily pick out, as the book had some examples of a street punk, or the rich people, or the troublemakers, and so on. But then again, in the real world, stereotypes are a negative thing. So I thought it was pretty interesting to think of it like that, because I definitely had not thought of it like that at all before. And it's very true. I definitely can look back on, some shows and whatnot that you can right away pick out, who's who, who's playing what character in that show. So it's pretty interesting. But that's all I have for you guys. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next week.